Many thanks for joining us at this hour on QTV. You are watching QTV News and I am Ajibintu Drame. In tonight's top stories, the National Human Rights Commission on Saturday joins ECOWAS member states to commemorate ECOWAS Human Rights Day. The Network of Financial and Tax Reporters Gambia chapter and various partners on Saturday validated their draft action plan for 2021. Ma Foundation for Women recently presented a milling machine to the community of Bijiran in the West Coast region. In international news, authorities in France have opened an investigation into the sudden disappearance of Jarai Sow, a 20-year-old Senegalese student who was studying there. A 24-year-old Sierra Leonean has invented his country's first solar-powered car built from trash. In sports news, Real de Banjul opened their league campaign at their home ground in Bosur with a victory. An NGO has organized a run against trafficking in sports in the Gambia. The Total African Nations Championship CHAN 2020 tournament, the biggest competition for footballers playing their football in Africa, kicks off today in Cameroon. Well, those were our top stories for tonight's bulletin. Do stay tuned for the news in detail. Now on to local news. The National Human Rights Commission on Saturday joins ECOWAS member states to commemorate ECOWAS Human Rights Day. The NHRC has released a joint statement with the Ministry of Health as this year's theme is promoting the right to health, education and cultural health practices. Babukar C has the rest of that story.
The 16th of January is set aside by ECOWAS member states to commemorate Human Rights Day in the region. This day is also being celebrated across the West African sub-region under the international theme promoting right to health, education and opportunity to enjoy indigenous cultural health practices. In the Gambia, the National Human Rights Commission is commemorating the day for the first time since the establishment of the Commission in 2019. Mansour Job, the Director of Legal and Investigations of the National Human Rights Commission, said the day is significant in observing human rights across the ECOWAS member states and the inclusion of women's participation in the development and the realization of the rights of all in the sub-region. Mr. Job said despite not being able to meet all their targets within a year, they were able to achieve some key developments.
And since the coming into force of the Commission, we have been able to do a lot of activities. We have been able to create awareness of human rights in order to nurture a culture of human rights in the Gambia. We all know what used to be obtainable in this country, where there was a flagrant violation of human rights with impunity. But the Commission has been able to sensitize the Gambian population, has also been able to conduct a lot of training, that is capacity building, particularly for law enforcement officials, in order to build their capacity and to bring their activities in line with modern policing, and of course to establish a police and security force that is amenable to respect to the rule of law and human rights, basically.
On the challenges faced by the Commission since its establishment in 2019, Mr. Job admits that a lot needs to be accomplished, but argued that they have done a lot within 1 year.
2020 specifically posed a unique challenge to the Commission, as we are all alive to the COVID-19 pandemic that has outraged many parts of the world, and the Gambia being no exception to these challenges. The Commission also was confronted with many of the challenges. For example, we were unable to basically implement most of our activities as proposed in our annual work plan, so we had to reschedule some and postpone others.
On the theme for this year's commemoration, the legal advisor of the Human Rights Commission said the theme is befitting as the world is challenged with the COVID-19 pandemic.
This year's theme is very much alive to the current realities, and that is why the National Human Rights Commission finds it very befitting to partner and collaborate with the Ministry of Health in commemorating the 2021 ECOWAS Human Rights Day.
According to the Human Rights Watch, the Gambia's democracy has improved immensely since the change of government in 2016, saying Adama Barrow's government took steps to reverse former President Yahya Jammeh's legacy of authoritarian and abusive rule. With the formation of a Truth Commission, a National Human Rights Center, among others, many are hopeful that the country that used to be feared because of a chronic dictatorship, arbitrary arrest, torture, and extrajudicial killings will soon be one of the best in human rights practices. Babukar C, QTV News.
The Network of Financial and Tax Reporters Gambia chapter, in partnership with the Gambia Bankers Association, with support from the Gambia Revenue Authority and Gambia Ports Authority, on Saturday validated its Draft Action Plan 2021. Omar P. Jallo attended the event and he now reports.
The forum brought together journalists interested in financial and tax reporting to critically look at the Draft Action Plan and make necessary adjustments to improve the document that will serve as a sense of direction for members on what the network intends to do in 2021. Delivering the welcoming remarks, the president of the Network of Financial and Tax Reporters, Gambia Chapter Abdullah Nyoke, said the validation will avail journalists the opportunity to familiarize themselves with the mandate and activities of GRA and other financial institutions so as to adequately report on business, finance and tax news.
The purpose of this forum today is to come together as journalists and critically look at the draft action plan and make necessary adjustment and input to improve the document. This action plan will serve as a sense of direction and target that the network wants to embark in 2021. The Day Consultative Forum will afford the media an opportunity to know the overall strategic direction of the network, specifically the vision, mission, and value for the next 1 year, as well as accord the possibility to contribute towards improving the draft action plan.
The acting executive director of the Gambia Bankers Association, Alhaji Jeng, said money laundering and terrorist financing are threats to economic growth. Thus, the reason the Gambia government established the Financial Intelligence Unit to prevent the acts in the Gambia. He assures his association continuous support to the network.
Tax, we don't take it lightly in the bank because now the regulations are there. In fact, we put it to everyone there, and whatever capacity you are coming up, before you open an account, you have to present a TIN. That is showing a sign that you have to pay tax.
The representative of GPA, Hadi Jonga, said government can only deliver the much-needed social services if people are tax compliant, while calling on the network to continue raising public awareness on the importance of tax.
I advise you to continue sensitizing and educating the general public on the critical issue on important to the state. In this regard, I wish the GPA and the GRA to continue their support towards the finance of this NFTR.
Representing the director of GRA, Martin Jai Senghor, the acting deputy director, Compliance and Taxpayers Education, believes there is a need for journalists to be acquainted with the types of taxes, tax laws and regulations in order to effectively report on tax and help clear the public misconception on tax compliance.
The GRA is very much appreciative to partner and continue to partner with this network to make sure that people understand the mandate of the GRA and also our business processes and procedures. You also need to understand the Gambian tax systems and the various types of taxes that exist in the country.
Considering the critical role the media can play in raising public awareness on tax compliance by sensitizing the public on the importance of tax, its laws and regulations, and holding government to account on tax collection, there is need to train journalists on tax reporting. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
We will take a quick commercial break. When we return, we continue with more local stories, international and sports news. Do stay tuned. Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV News. Still onto local stories. Ma Foundation for Women has recently presented a milling machine to the community of Bijiran in the West Coast region to ease the burden on women when grinding their grains. Babka Sise has the rest of that story.
In their quest to promote women's welfare and relieve some of the challenges faced by rural women, Ma Foundation, with support from the Gambia Post Authority, presented the milling machine to the women of Bajiran following their plea that they trek for kilometers to neighboring villages to grind their grains. Alaji B. Sow, the national coordinator for Ma Foundation for Women, says the donation coincides with the foundation's 3-year anniversary and also explains some of the challenges these women face.
As you can see, this is a community that is off the road. It's very far from the town. So they have very difficult times when it comes to milling problems, like if they have cows and they want to make porridge and other stuffs, they have to go very far to do that. But now they are having the milling machine in their community now. Now I think it is very good for them to at least stay and then be safe in their environment in terms of milling processes.
At the presentation, Fatoumata Jawara Dukure, the CEO of Ma Foundation for Women, says the milling machine will help ease women's constraints.
Keep this machine and maintain it. It is a new machine and a new generator. It also comes with a 1-year warranty for free maintenance.
Adama Jaju, a community member, says the women are delighted.
I'm so happy that I don't know what to say. I sent someone to grind my cows for me in another village. Today we thank God that we have our own machine. I would like to thank Ma Foundation.
Landin Jaju, the VDC Assistant Secretary for Bajiran, explains how funds will be generated to help the community and the maintenance of the machine.
It will increase the income of the community, because when we are using it, we are not going to make it free of charge. So if anybody is going to use it, you must pay an amount of money which will be saved and then will be divided into 3 parts. The other part will be saved for the community, the other part will be chipped for the machine itself, and then the other part of the money will be used for the fuel, because it is using fuel. And then the other part, which is the second part, will be saved for the maintenance of the machine. Everybody is smiling here, everybody is having that joyful. If you enter in anybody's heart here, you'll say how much they are happy. Definitely, we are very much happy.
In December last year, Ma Foundation also installed solar lights at Bajiran Labour Ward, which has no electricity. The lights will help nurses and pregnant women, especially at night. Ma Foundation for Women was launched in 2017 in URR to support and empower Gambian women. Babukar Sise, QTV News.
Newsworth Senior Secondary School Commerce Club on Friday held its Commerce Day with the theme Entrepreneurship. Omar P. Jallo visited the school grounds, and this is his report.
The day is geared towards promoting and encouraging entrepreneurship in commerce. Events like this can help motivate students and give them an idea, as well as increase their ambition and interest in becoming entrepreneurs in the future. At the event, the Assistant Secretary of the Commerce Club, Mohamed Lamin Mane, said the program was initiated to help students interact with successful business entrepreneurs to be inspired to get ready to face the world of entrepreneurship. He added that students will have the opportunity to ask critical questions in relation to the topic.
This will help, preach on this subject matter, so that, let's say, people who are willing to venture into business are motivated and inspired.
The former president of the Newsworth Senior Secondary School Commerce Club, Lamin Baji, believes all the students present are passionate about entrepreneurship and are ready to go through the rough journey to achieve their dream. He adds that over the years, the Commerce Club has successfully organized trade fairs to help students showcase their talent as future entrepreneurs.
I was able to make the trade fair a success, because the profit I gained from the trade fair, it was very welcoming and very promoted, because I made a profit of, the time we came to the Commerce Club, we found $10,050, but we are able to leave 15,000 in the club. That was very promising, and I think they were very happy about that.
The IPRO of the Commerce Club, Fatoumata A. Toure, said it is so important for young people to know what entrepreneurship entails, adding that entrepreneurship is all about critical thinking and that naturally commerce students are critical thinkers.
Commerce Club is the only club in Nusrat that organizes trade fair. And other schools, we never heard of it. The only thing we hear of is the trade fair that is at the stadium at Bakau, but then Nusrat, they come up with a different thing. They said we the students ourselves, we are the ones who are going to organize trade fair, not only for the students, but also other students outside. They can bring their stalls and sell their materials inside the school. So that also was an inspiration.
Speakers from different institutions took turn to inspire, motivate and share with students their experiences in the area of entrepreneurial businesses and to clear the doubts and misconceptions about becoming an entrepreneur. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Now in international news, a 24-year-old Sierra Leonean has invented Sierra Leone's first solar-powered car built from trash. Emmanuel Aliou Mansare is a student of the Fourrier Bay College, University of Sierra Leone, pursuing a bachelor's degree in geology. Here is the report. Emmanuel is a 24-year-old self-taught Sierra Leone inventor, engineer well-versed in renewable energy and a student of the Fourrier Bay College, University of Sierra Leone, pursuing a BSc in geology.
It was a huge challenge for me, he said. I didn't have that power or money to develop my country, but with my natural gift, I'll surely transform Sierra Leone by God's grace.
Emmanuel said he built the solar-powered car, which he named the Imagination Solar Car, because of his passion for the environment and to reduce the risk of contracting diseases such as lung cancer, asthma, amongst other health complications caused or made worse by inhaling hazardous fumes emitted by cars using fossil fuel. He saved $1,000 in about 2 years from the little money his family gives him for lunch to buy solar headlights, indicator lights, horn, cables, switches, mirrors and parking lights, while all the other parts were collected from scrappy yards. This was because he tried in vain to get sponsors to fund his project. Emmanuel comes from a poor family and was struggling to get money to pay his fees at the Fourrier Bay College. However, he wanted to be part of the effort to meet the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals on clean energy. Emmanuel Aliou Mansare has now joined a few young African innovators from Ghana, Kenya, Botswana and Nigeria that have each invented a solar-powered car. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News. Authorities in France have opened an investigation into the sudden disappearance of Jari Sow, a 20-year-old Senegalese student who was studying at a high school in France. More in this report. Jari Sow, called as Senegalese best people, went missing since January 4th, according to France 24. Her disappearance has caused worry in both her home country and France, where she went for her studies. Known as a brilliant student, she made a name for herself at such an early age through her eminent performance in academics, bagging herself several national awards in her home country, Senegal. This gained her a scholarship to study at the prestigious Parisian school, Lycée Louis-le-Grand High School in Paris. She's a punctual pupil, very serious, and the alert went out quickly. No one had seen her. She was in her apartment in a student residence in Paris. Henry Sarr, a member of one of the Senegalese students' associations that raised the alarm on social media, told AFP. Ever since, the Senegalese community in France have been posting flyers of Jari Sow on social media in order to gather information on her whereabouts. Neither her parents, nor her friends, nor her tutor, nor the embassy have had any news, according to Daudambai, a member of the Senegalese community in Paris who organized the distribution of missing person flyers to help find Sow. Jari Sow was designated Senegalese best pupil in 2018 and 19. She also authored a novel, Le Visage d'un Ange, published last year. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News. Now let's take a quick look at some sports news. It was the perfect way to open a first league game at home. Real de Banjul opened their league campaign at their home ground at Basuri with a 2-1 win against Talinding United. Our reporter Momodu Gajaga has the rest of the details.
An unforgettable evening for Ibrahim Ajata, scoring and providing an assist for Real. A moment in the box with a fine ball control before a perfect pass to Salifu Koli, who fired in a low shot to open the scoring. Talinding United's defence were caught napping twice and had to thank the shooting inaccuracy of Ibrahim Ajata, who twice failed to hit the target in the first half when he was clean through on goal. Ibrahim Ajata made up for his earlier misses with a touch of brilliance to create space as he fired an effort on the far left, shooting low to score, increasing the advantage for the boys in white. Talinding United, though, made 3 substitutions which paid off late in the second half. Real de Banjul were put under intense pressure as the Serekunda side surged forward. The pressure paid off as they reduced the deficit after Real conceded a penalty through substitute Sidiki Jawara. Lamin Kinte converted, sending the keeper the wrong way. The goal energized Talinding, and moments later Ibrahima Toure forced Real de Banjul goalkeeper Ibrahima Jaju into a save, tipping his long-range effort behind for a corner. Real held on to ensure victory in their league opener. Ibrahima Jata says he hopes to score in subsequent matches after being on the score sheet and also registering an assist in his first league game.
Bena homo be bruka clinic continue no be na mo school be kom jemo ngaji nya ko jemo ni over better no na bola overplay jemo ni ya maintain for winter no so jemo ngaji nya kom preso benen kan because benen gali askore nga preso soro be kom ngasko nyami ni alsunta ba continue nya inshallah.
Coach Ibu Jara was full of praise for his side's performance, but started by dedicating his team's victory to 2 former legends who passed away in 2020.
We remember Papa Sarkor and Alaji Birinjai in their passing away. May their souls rest in peace. So 3 points dedicated to our legends, Papa Sarkor and Alaji Birinjai. We are glad that we have the 3 points today.
Talinding United coach Sana Dabo says his side showed a fighting spirit even though they lost.
It's a game of 2 halves. You know, the first half, you know, they definitely played very well, you know, and deserve a lead. You know, the second half, the changes play a very good role in the second half.
Real de Banjul will face Gamtel next weekend, while Talinding United will play Fortune. Mamadou Gajaga, QTV News.
In other news, Mission 89, a Switzerland-based NGO whose target is to combat trafficking in sports, in partnership with the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia, on Saturday organized a run against trafficking in sports in the Gambia. Barbara Kasi has the rest of that story.
The day is chosen to speak out against trafficking in sports in the country and is done in partnership with the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia, the International Organization for Migration, and the Ministry of Youth and Sports, among others. The day is celebrated by organizing a run and walk where members of the Walk for Health were invited and other dignitaries who completed an 8-kilometer exercise. The International Labour Organization estimated that in 2016 there were more than 40 million victims of different forms of human trafficking globally, with a quarter of those victims being children. Human trafficking, also known as modern slavery, is a $150 billion criminal industry, second only to drugs. It is an issue endemic to all countries and communities, which is why it is so important to understand the ways in which it can work and how it is recognized. Former sports minister and one of the heads of the Walk for Health, Honorable Sirif Gomez, said trafficking in sports is happening and should stop.
Human trafficking in any form is condemnable, particularly the exploitation of aspiring sports athletes into this field, and then they're being exploited into trafficking. That is abominable, and we condemn it, and I know this country condemns it, and I'm sure also government is working very hard to make sure that this doesn't take root. In any form it is, this country will condemn it. This is why Walk for Health thought that it will join with Sports Journalists Association to do this noble venture and initiative today.
Sport has become yet another cover under which traffickers operate, but many people are still ignorant of how common it can happen. Many sports are a target for potential corruption. Migration in sport provides traffickers with conditions ripe for corruption practices. To protect the players, we need more people raising awareness of the issue, arguing for measures to be taken that will protect young people from exploitation, added Musa Sise, the president of the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia. For Marcel Mendy of the Sports Council, Organizations like FIFA cannot ultimately prevent fraudulent individuals selling young athletes a dream that's built on a lie that requires more than football organizations can provide, which is a solution to common structural issues around inequality. It requires a multi-agency approach with border agencies, guardians, transport companies, agents and sports associations all working together to mitigate risks and ensure the safety of young athletes. Every year, hundreds of thousands of children are smuggled across borders and sold as commodities, including promising young footballers who are trafficked by sham agents, making false promises of fame, riches, and an escape route from a cycle of poverty. Babu Karsi, Qtv News.
The year's first major international sports tournament gets underway today. Cameroon's football administrators and the public are primed for the start of the Total African Nations Championship, CHAN 2020 tournament, and the biggest competition for footballers playing their football in Africa.
To the delight of the authorities, Cameroon's Sports Ministry announced earlier in the week that fans will be able to attend the games. What has been described as Cameroon's excellent management of the spread of the coronavirus has meant that fans will be able to attend, albeit with reduced capacities. Several teams will be hoping to improve on past performances in the competition. These include the host Cameroon, who kick off proceedings in the first match in Group A when they face Zimbabwe. In this, their fourth appearance, they will be hoping to do better than their two quarter-final exits in 2011 and 2016. For Zimbabwe, marking their fifth appearance in the competition, their best performance was the fourth place in 2014. Group B appears particularly strong, as it features two teams that have won the tournament and two that made it to the quarterfinals in previous editions. Libya triumphed in 2014, and DR Congo were champions in 2009 and again in 2016. Of the other two in the group, Niger exited at the quarterfinal stage in 2011, and Congo exited at the same stage at the last edition in 2018. In Group C, champions Morocco, making their third appearance in the tournament, will be hoping to hold on to their crown and start off their defence with the match against Togo, who are making their debut in the tournament. In Group D, Zambia's third-place finish in 2009 is the best finish by any of the teams in that group. However, Guinea might feel their fourth-place finish from 5 years ago is the more recent and more relevant. Namibia, in only their second appearance, will be hoping to improve on their very creditable quarter-final exit in the previous edition when they made their debut. Tanzania, also making their second appearance, did not make it out of the group stages back in 2009 when they last appeared in this competition. On the pitch, the tournament will be the first major men's competition on the continent to see VAR technology deployed. In the stands and at home, of course, we will all be referees. For QTV News, I am Ade Darami.
Before we end this bulletin, let's take a quick look at our main stories. The National Human Rights Commission on Saturday joined ECOWAS member states to commemorate ECOWAS Human Rights Day. The network of financial and tax reporters Gambia chapter and various partners on Saturday validated their draft action plan 2021. Ma Foundation for Women recently presented a milling machine to the community of Bijiran in the West Coast region. Newsworth Senior Secondary School Commerce Club on Friday held its Commerce Day with the theme Entrepreneurship. In international news, authorities in France have opened an investigation into the sudden disappearance of Jari Sow, a 20-year-old Senegalese student who was studying there. A 24-year-old Sierra Leonean has invented his country's first solar-powered car built from trash. In sports news, Real de Banjul opened their league campaign at their new home ground in Basur with a victory. An NGO has organized a run against trafficking in sports in the Gambia. The Total African Nations Championship CHAN 2020 tournament, the biggest competition for footballers playing their football in Africa, kicked off today in Cameroon. Well, that's it from me in tonight's bulletin. Thank you for watching and please stay tuned on QTV. Bye for now.